Welcome to the Nations Cup, the first group stage, everybody. We're here for Group A, and we have Germany against Hungary. Alright, Garden of Terror is our first map, and of course there's a couple of things to go over. I already explained it in some of the regional qualifiers, but just to sum this up again, we have an offline event coming up in Berlin at the 10th and 11th of June, where we're going to have the top teams of the world, of the North American, the European and the Asian server face off against each other. For the European qualifier, we have 16 teams that are qualified for the first group stage. We have 4 groups, A, B, C and D, with 4 teams each that play a full round robin. All of these matches are going to be best of 3s, and the top 2 teams out of each group will then move on to the next round of the tournament. For some of the regions, or some of the countries, we had also regional qualifiers. National qualifiers when there was more than one team that wanted to play. For example, we just recently had the qualifier for Poland, where 2 Polish teams were facing off against each other in a best-of-5 series to determine which team would represent the country. But I'm really looking forward to this one. Now, there's a little bit of an adjustment, so it's a bit of a hybrid tournament. This is supposed to be not only really entertaining for the fans, but also change things up slightly. This isn't quite Meta Madness, but if you watch Meta Madness in the past, you're going to be familiar with some of these rules. And one that we're using here is that you can only play heroes once within a series. Makes it a bit more interesting for the audience. Make sure that you don't always see Genji and Hanzo pop up in every single draft, while at the same time not pushing the envelope so far that you have teams that are getting forced into playing without a healer, that have to play Murky or Gaslow. So a lot of stuff on the line here. Now, if you want to have additional information about the event, about the prize pool, maybe you want to come to Berlin and watch the players play on site. We are partnered with the Experian in Berlin, so you can combo that off with a bit of a trip, of a city trip to Berlin if you want to. Entrance is free, so you can all just stop by, but if you want to have additional information and you're watching this on YouTube, for example, you can find a link in the video description that you can check out. Keep in mind, by the way, there is also crowdfunding, so we did the same thing for Miami last year. We need some community support for this, especially for the offline events, so if you guys would check that out too, the link is also in the description of the video, then you should definitely have a look there, especially of course if you want more offline events in the future. Last year we had 2 in Miami, so for all the Americans a chance to check all of this out. This year we are going to visit Europe with the Nations Cup, and we are also getting a visit from the Vikings. Now that's a bit wild. Obviously, it's Garden of Terror, but I still didn't expect the Vikings picking game number 1 of the best-of-3 series. Now, just to round out this group real quickly, we have Germany, Hungary, the Netherlands, and Austria in Group A. So those 4 teams will fight for the 2 spots to make it out of the group. But Dainu coming in with an early Vikings pick, and we're getting Genji on top of that too, with Dehaka already on the side lane. So we're off to a pretty wild start here. I'm personally a huge fan of the Vikings pick. Don't get me wrong, it's Garden of Terror after all, so it's not a hero that you see a lot here, but it's still someone that can be very, very strong. And I just want to see how the Hungarian team is going to react to this now. Obviously, the Germans in the group, they are the favorite, and we'll see if they can justify that role that they have here, but they are one of the top seeds that we now have in group stage number 1. And I'm super happy, by the way. 16 teams, 16 countries represented. I think in total we had more than 23 teams sign up, as I said before, from the same region sometimes. Germany, to my knowledge, had 3 teams play and try and qualify. France, I believe, the same. For Poland, it was 2, and so on and so forth. Sweden also, with some really good representation here and just super entertaining. In this case, we have Darkmog playing for the German team as well. That's obviously a bit of a blast from the past. I talked recently about him since he's also participating in some of the amateur games that are played out in Heroes Lounge. Death Knight with Karazim as they round out that draft, so already super aggressive here with Genji, with Karrigan, with Karazim, and then the Vikings trying to keep them in play with experience, lane push, and also altar control. Whereas thanks to the global on the side of the Hungarian team, they can try and counteract it a bit. Zul to rotate between lanes and put lane pressure on, try and take these minion waves down quickly, but that leaves them with the last and final pick here for Garden of Terror. I'm talking about altars, like what the hell am I talking about? It's Garden of Terror, it's not Towers of Doom. So yeah, bit of a brain fart on my end. A lot of this this is still applicable, with the exception that you don't channeling altars. But the map is big, he has a lot of control. We get Sylvanas as the last pick, so even more push power now for the team, and with that we're heading into game number 1. God of Terror, everybody! Germany against Hungary. Game number 1 in the best of 3 series. On the left side, we have the German team in blue with Death Knight on Karazim, Darkmog on Kerrigan, Hazorps playing Dehaka, Nick on Genji, and Dino is playing the Lost Vikings. Over on the right side of the map, we have the Hungarian team with Wolfie on Johanna, Gregorius on Sylvanas, Double M on Brightwing, Marmot on Zul, and Olastor is playing Fostet. Now, obviously, during the draft, I tested you guys a little bit. I was just trying to find out if you were paying attention. It wasn't Towers of Doom, it was Gardens of Terror here. But the Vikings still gonna shine. So you can still play around the seats a little bit with the Vikings, but their main role is obviously gonna be to soak experience and just try and do their thing there. It's a little bit weird to me still that Hazorps is not playing the Vikings. Obviously, nothing against Dino here, but if you've been watching Heroes of the Storm right from the beginning, or maybe even you watched Hazorp play Warcraft 3 and Starcraft 2, then you perfectly know that he is one, or was always one of the main Vikings players for whichever team he was playing for. And so seeing him not play the Vikings is always a little bit weird. But as we're headed into game number 1 of the series, let's have a bit of a look of what's going on with this. Top side, there's already a bit of a trap set up by Death Knight and Darkmog as they're hoping to get some hits in, but the rotation hasn't happened yet. There's a lot of aggressive plays that can be made with this lineup. You have Kerrigan, Genji jumping in. There's a lot of mobility on Karazim too. Already some hits down here, and Sylvanas is dead. Perfect play by Hazorps as he connects the Drag and the Tongue, and therefore Sylvanas not able to get out of harm's way, so she becomes first blood. For the Hungarians, they have a lot of tools that can try and push these lanes down. So obviously when you're looking at the heroes that they're playing here, they have a lot of tools that are doing extremely well on either burning minion waves down or dealing with structures. Zul is going to attempt to push out against the Vikings, but this is going to be a little bit tough for him considering that Death Knight is lingering around consistently. We have at the same time also Dino over here with Olaf, so you can always try and proxy these waves a little bit. Doesn't really have the clear power that Balog brings to the front, but he still can delay this a bit. He can use this also as an observer's ward and just try and get some additional information about the positioning on the other side. And they're already trying to counterplay Zul up here, and it's a full-on gank. And Kerrigan holds back the combo, doesn't even have to do anything. One of the best things that you can do if you go for an opponent, just give it a little bit of time, make him dodge comps that are never coming, stuns that will never show up, and then you get enough hits in, and if worse comes to worse, then you can always end the combo out towards the end of the fight in his escape attempt and try and get the kill there. So the Germans starting things up with the usual efficiency, stealing some of the opponent's camps away too, trying to go for another hit in, and very nice timing also as they're going now for Jojo. Brightwing with the assist, and Sylvanas is helping out to ensure that Johanna does not fall, but we already have a double camp topside pushing for the fort with the help of Dino's Olaf here, Balog. So getting the wall down, stopping the minion wave, Falstad even flying in. Karazim with a bit more aggression, and Death Knight might have gone too deep. Might have gone too deep, is trying to get out, but that is kill number 1 for the Hungarians. And down to the bottom of the map, it is still Zul that gets attacked again, but Kerrigan, can she get close enough? Yeah, it's gonna be the end of Zul once more. So nice plays, nice attacks here by the German team. The Hungarians trying to now use Sylvanas to push this out a bit at the top. They were able to get the kill on Karazim, so at least 1 on the board. Magic spit in on level 4. We also got the unstable poison for Sylvanas. The first seed has already been taken. So Germany has been able to grab seed number 1. The second one over on towards the right side this time. A little bit more advantageous position for the Hungarians. But as is another kill, Sylvanas down and gets eliminated. We have level 7 on the board for the Germans. And down to the bottom of the map, Olaf is pushing this out further, now with Spin to Win available on level 7. That also means, of course, you have a lot more wave clear that you can play around with. Another attempt at a kill, and Falstad goes down. Falstad is dropped. Very aggressive positioning here from the Germans. From the beginning, they are going on the offensive. They are pushing this out, looking to get quick kills in, pushing the opponent back. And also, of course, forcing them to be very careful how they're rotating between the lanes now. After you lose multiple heroes to ganks like this one, you are pretty intimidated oftentimes and have a rough time coordinating these rotations properly. They're losing Johanna and the Seed as it's been channeled through by the Vikings. That control over macro plays that the Vikings give them now is, of course, big. But the pressure continues with topside being attacked. The entire wall has been destroyed. The bigger problem is really the massive lead and experience that we are now looking at for the blue team. They have half a level until level 10, and it's a big gap over what we're seeing from the team in red. So once level 10 abilities are available, they could be jumping in a lot more and try to get some kills. And what worries me a little bit more from their perspective is that it's likely going to intersect with an objective for the Germans. Because now the seed is being announced and there's just absolutely no way that within 30 seconds the Hungarians are soaking 1.5 levels. Long boat, by the way, for Dino. So Dino going into the boat over here instead of going for a play again. Zul gets attacked down at the bottom of the map. Not really forcing the issue just yet, but very nice connect from Hazo. Really well done. That could be the end and should be the end of Zul. Dino even surviving with Balog. And oh boy, they are in trouble. Those level 10 abilities are maybe even the nail in the coffin of the early game of Hungary. They are losing too much here. Seed is on the map, hasn't even been gathered yet, but they're diving in deep. Trying to get another kill, this time on Wolfie. Jojo barely getting out. The X-Strike, and Carrigan gets it. Brightwing also annihilated. Another kill, another hit. Vikings controlling the lanes as we speak, and there's still an entire level until the red team gets access to their own heroics. Dino with another channel, and this is the first set of Garden Terrors for the Germans. 3 seeds in a row, and they are going straight in for those forts. 6.5 minutes into the game. We're still waiting for the red team to get a bit more experience. There it is. They have level 10, trying to use it right away. But look at this flank. They're coming from every single direction as Falstad and Sylvanas are both eliminated. A quick jump from Jojo straight into the 7-sided, and Wolfie is dead too. 12 kills to 1. Vikings pushing the top side as the rest of the team is busy down at the bottom of the map. In the middle of the map, we have also more Garden Terrors doing damage to the forts. In this case, with the help of Olaf, 1 fort down. The fort at the bottom of the map is not going to make it either. Absolute ruthless display of skill here in the early game of our first best of 3 series. Level 13 is ready. More talent advantages now for Germany. But the mind control, Nick with the X-Strike, and he's able to dash out. Death Knight helping him as much as he could. Needs to head back, running out of resources here too, as topside Zul has unleashed his own ult in an attempt to help the team get a kill on Carrigan. Good moves being made here. Chrysalis to dodge the final hit, and Zul falls. Darkmok saving himself. Another stun attempt, but the combo doesn't quite connect. Still enough to get Brightwing into trouble, but the Fruit Fly is about to make its way out of the battle. And with Wolfie now assisting, they're at least getting some Vikings destroyed. The only remaining fort for the Hungarians up at the top side. Still, Carrigan getting attacked again, so does Genji. And everybody just slowly falling back here. So just to sum up the early game a little bit, it's not really looking too good for the Hungarians here in the first game of the best of 3 series. They're 12 kills behind, and what's more worrisome is they are 2.5 levels behind. The Vikings are definitely going to give them a lot of trouble as the game continues. We have small adjustments being made. The Hinterland Blast is now in. The cooldown reduction could be pretty big. against the Vikings, obviously, with a falling sword now as well. If you make it to level 20, then this could help you a lot too. But time will tell how things are going to go for them here, because Germany is ruthlessly pushing their agenda. They're controlling the flow of the game and the map. They're going from camp to camp. We have the Haka controlling experience at the top, while the Vikings are just pushing every single lane out and providing therefore more and more space for the rest of the German team to just go for mercenary camps and put even more pressure onto these lanes as time continues. Hazu coming in with another nice move against Brightwing over here before the polymorph is being used. The entire Hungarian team has fallen topside in an attempt to take him down. Now that didn't happen, and that is a bit rough for them. They just picked up the level 13 talent, as we have the Germans with level 16. So it's a 3-level advantage for them right now. Yeah, someone is getting a little bit deep here. Nick jumps in deep, but no consequences just yet. Zul is dead once more, and they're looking for more, and they're getting more. Down they go. Kerrigan with one killer move after another. A bit too deep, but definitely worth it. 3 kills before she dies. Zul, Sylvanas, and Brightwing all eliminated. 16 kills to 2 now in total. With a Largen in charge, Olaf can provide the additional stun. Lanes are being pressured out by the camps as the team pushes through the middle. The wall about to fall. They're taking it down one at a time, and things are getting nasty. 4-level lead nearly. Vikings at the bottom of the map. Siege Giants up at the top. Zul dealing with them as he can, whereas more seeds are popping up. 4 in a row have been taken by the blue team, and they are now opting in for the 5th one. Another set of Garden Terrors might just be the lights out move against the red team. So at this point in time, for the Hungarians, it's going to be a little bit rough. They're trying to take this by 5-manning it a lot, or at least 4-manning it and splitting Zul towards the side so that he can try and clear the waves a little bit. But what they really need are kills. And it's tough for them to do that, because they have too many things on the map that they have to pay attention to. They got Falstad as their only global that can try and counteract the Vikings, or may... Oh, there it is! The Hinterland Blast. Yeah, so Falstad can try and counterplay the Vikings and maybe the Haka a little bit, but because there's so much map control currently for the German team, it's really difficult for them to do anything about it. Another 7-sided strike to save Karazim. And they were also able to take Zul down again. The keep about to be destroyed, and they are pressuring this even further. 6 deaths on Zul, and that's the end of Jojo. They keep in the middle of the map, also being totally crushed, and the German team not only on a winning trajectory, but also about to make a statement here. Now, this is the first group stage of the tournament, of course. As I explained previously, we have 16 countries represented here, which I'm super happy about, and there will be gaps in level of skill. But the Germans, as explained, they are the favorite in Group A. They have to deal with Hungary, with Austria, and with the Netherlands. And we'll see if they can maintain that top position, or if other countries will make things a little bit more difficult for them. This is also only game number 1 of the series, of course. But with another camp now taken, with them getting closer and closer also to level 20, and with another set of Garden Terrors, they are definitely in the driver's seat. The good news for the Hungarians, yes, there is some, is that they have level 16 talent. So it's at least an even talent battle. They're behind by 3 levels, so the stats advantage alone. Kerrigan hopping through them. Here comes the Hinterland Blast, but the cooldown reduction not enough. Down they go. Sylvanas and Brightwing are dead. So is Zul. They try and make another play for Falstad. He barely escapes. Johanna not so lucky. And now with the Garden Terrors assailing the remaining keeps, the core is losing its shields. 22 kills to 2. The core is falling, and the Germans about to lock in a victory in game number 1 of the best of 3 series here in Group A of the Nations Cup. Nicely done. A well-deserved victory on the first map of the best of 3. GG.
Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet, so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV.
Game number 2, the Germans in the lead as we're headed towards Cursed Hollow. So as explained already in the first game, there's a bit of an adjustment made when it comes to drafting rules. We're not going all out here with 22 heroes pre-banned, but you can only play a hero once in a series. So the 10 heroes that have been played in game number 1 can now not be played again. Little bit of variation in the heroes that need to be drafted. You're not going to encounter Genji and Hanzo every single game as a pick or a ban. This doesn't really push the teams too far out of their comfort zone here. We're not going to get all of those Murkies and Chogals, at least not here, but it still makes things a bit more interesting for the audience out there, and obviously for the players as well. The Germans with a very strong showing on the first map. Now, as we're heading into Cursed Hollow, there's of course a few picks that could also do really well here, Vikings being one of them. Given what we've seen from the Germans so far, maybe we're going to see an Abathur at some point as well, so there's definitely a bit of a chance, but yeah, time will tell. Now, I am personally super happy, by the way, to bring some offline Heroes of the Storm here with international participation to Europe, so very much looking forward to the event in Berlin. And as I already explained in the first game, but I want to stress again, it's open to the public. So if you guys live in Berlin, if you maybe are trying to go, or you're interested in going for a bit of a city trip and watch Heroes of the Storm live, we have 2 days of Heroes of the Storm at the Experian in Berlin at the Alexanderplatz that you can check out there. And entrance is free, so you can look all of the details up as explained. Links are being provided there, but it's going to be an awesome event, and it's going to be pretty great to just have everybody there. Obviously, we had the same happening in the US, but a lot of the players, for them and family, it's a little bit easier to travel within Europe, and therefore it's kind of nice to have now another offline event on European soil. But yeah, with that said and done, we now have our next few bans kicking around here with Abathur now eliminated. It's a little bit of a sad banner move because I was really looking forward to a potential Hazu-Ops Abathur. We get a Lucio though. So Lucio for some easy rotations between the lanes here. And let's see what the Germans can come up with. It should be an interesting one. By the way, the second stage of the tournament is going to be 8 teams that play a full round robin against each other. So it's going to be a lot of really good matches that we're going to get. And that double pick right at the start here is already making me insanely suspicious. Now, with an early Morales pick, immediately alarm bells are going off. Problem is, though, that normally when you're going for a backdoor strategy, you would try and get Tyrael into the mix. And since they are now going for this double pick just before the third ban kicks in, I would assume that the Hungarians are going to ban out Tyrael. I don't think they're going to allow that to be a thing. And they already picked some heroes that would help them against the backdoor strategy. Not saying that necessarily if you're going into a Morales pick, you have to do it. But there's always, of course, the threat itself. So, yeah, Zarya, Morales, outside of them just thinking about maybe backdooring a little bit, what I could also see is some of those insane Soljin games that we already saw in Meta Madness. I mean, honestly, the one game, I believe it was the Cats against Scuff team, just blew me away. And what? They banned Tyches. Ooh, boys, that's asking for trouble. You're not getting rid of Tyrael. All right, we got Chen and we got Dennis. All right, they're going all out with that one. Chen for creating space, and now Dennis. Yeah, the Germans are definitely trying to not show their strategies and plays there, so they're realizing that they're probably a bit on a higher level than the Hungarians, so they're just going to try and play it out like this. This is a really beefy lineup that they're rocking here. Chen, Artanis, and then Zarya Morales to back all of this up. So Darkmoor can go for the biggest damage dealer and really just trying to lead the charge here with the numbers, and I think that's probably what we're gonna see. I wouldn't be shocked to see Suljin at all, but there's plenty of heroes to pick from at this point in time. I mean, this is a beastie front line that can deal with. They go for Greymane instead. Darkmog going for something that's a little bit more familiar with and fairly old school here. So yeah, that's going to be quite fun. Game number 2, everybody. Match point number 1. Let's go. Germany against Hungary. Group A of the Nations Cup here in 2023. Game number 2, we're on Cursed Hollow, and on the left side of the map we have the Germans with Hazorbs on Chen, Death Knight on Morales, Nick is playing Zarya, we got Dainu on Artanis. Is he viable? Well... probably not really. Darkmog on Greymane, and over on the right side of the map it is Hungary with Wolfie on ETC, Double M on Lucio, Mammoth on Tacita, Gregorius on Blaze, and Holastor is playing Cassia. Let's go, boys! Let's see what Dainu can pull off with Artanis this time. Going into the amateur opponent as his level 1 talent choice. That's definitely going to help them with camp clear and also with the bosses. If they want to go for a double boss play, they can definitely do that now. They have Artanis, they got... well, they got Greymane, they got Zarya, so they have a lot of really strong tools as they're just trying to burn these bosses down. Look at how careful this rotation is. Even though they have vision on 3 heroes, they're walking all the way around because they encountered so many traps in game number 1 that they're super intimidated right now. The Hungarians definitely having a lot of respect for the Germans here, and the blue team is already exploiting that, which resulted in them taking an entire tower down at the bottom of the map with this little composition. Now Greymane, of course, absolutely fantastic if you're trying to raise structures, especially when you're also looking at Zarya to provide him with a quick shield here. That's a great start once again for the German team as they're attempting to just poke this out slowly and steadily. We got on level 1 also the block party. ETC is still trying to hold the front and provide a bit of cover for the damage dealers, Tacita and Cassia in particular. Cassia herself is now moving into the middle to meet up against Artanis here, but the bot lane is clearly suffering. I mean, clearly. So damage is already being done here, that tower nearly destroyed, and this is going to make it very easy for the blue team to start slowly pressure the fort itself. And with ETC going that deep, that's a kill. So yeah, he slides out, and that's a huge problem. The wall is great, but it doesn't help Tacita. He dies too, and now they can siege up very quickly. It's an endless barrage. If you're dealing with Zarya, then it's always really dicey, and Morales, of course, is helping Greymane even further. It's pretty much the one wolf show that we're seeing down here. A lot of assist to put him into a hyper carry position, and Darkmog at the 2-minute mark is helping his team to destroy fort number 1. That's kind of where we're at. 2 minutes in, 1 fort is already gone. This triple hero lineup at the bot lane with Zarya, with Morales, and with Greymane is absolutely brutal. Now, they're trying to go for the camp, and they are able to lock it in. Them going for the Siege Giants, of course, also wasted their time a bit, which meant they couldn't respond to any of the bot lane aggression after they were initially taken out. With levels 4, we now have, in addition to that, also the speed barrier. That's going to help them a little bit more. And as is, they are going through those giants like hot butter through cheese, and now they're just making a play for the wall itself. Yeah, it is. It's on. It's definitely on. They are pushing through this super aggressively. They get, of course, information through the middle and the top lane, where multiple heroes are currently dealing with Artanis and with Chen, and now that the red team is starting to fall back down to the bot lane in an attempt to start an attack here with a 4 versus 3. We have not only the 3 heroes on the blue team side slowly moving back, but also attempting to turn it around and get a quick kill here. Nice grenade from Death Knight. Beautiful play. And that's a kill by Darkmog as they're pushing this even further. We are at level 7 for them with 3 kills to 0, and they're starting to do damage at the keep 3 minutes and 30 seconds in. And it's not looking good for the red team. They're really struggling here. Everybody already low. They can't really go to the front or they will immediately be attacked. Those walls are a nice attempt, but nobody's panicking on the blue team side. And now Chen can easily go for the top. Gets the tribute. Tribute number 1, by the way. It was the first tribute in the game. We already have the 2-level advantage for the German team, as now Artanis and Chen are in the middle to drop another 4. It's going to be the second one of the game, and they can also attempt now to flank in as an entire 5-man is going down to the bottom of the map, and this is going to be bad news. Here's the attack, the swap, the hit, the kill, the double, the triple. It's a quad kill, and they go for the 5-man team wipe. The entire team absolutely crushed over here, and that is likely going to be the end of this keep. Just towards the back here, everybody getting popped. They're dropping the entire team and then make a move for Blaze as well. The keep indeed gone, and that's 8 kills to 0 and level 10 incoming soon, TM. The Germans, they are the favorites. I've been talking about it several times, and they clearly show this here. As of course a lot of star power on the blue team. People that have played in HGC for a long time. A lot of players that have been highly successful ever since HGC ended in the post-HGC era, and attended tons and tons of tournaments, offline events as well. Now with heroic abilities in their hands, they're making a move for the boss down at the bottom of the map, and this should very, very quickly develop into a push towards the core. Now the red team makes a good decision as they are going for the top in an attempt to also take a boss. Obviously they were realizing what was happening down at the bottom of the map. They couldn't really contest it since they don't have level 10. The move for the boss is not a bad one. They want to avoid a double boss push. The problem that comes with this is it doesn't really give them a whole lot of experience, so they might have been a bit better off trying to push towards the lanes. Portals are getting interrupted by Hazu. He's interrupting as much of those portals as he can. He will eventually die, but all he's trying to do here is buy time. Buy time for the boys on the core as they are trying to end the game, and there's nobody to stop them. The boss isn't even here, and the core is already down to 50%. This is going to be game. In 6 minutes, the Germans with a new record, showing all the efficiency that we expected as they come in and take the victory. They beat Hungary with a 2-0 in Group A of the Nations Cup.
Thank you everybody for watching the video today. I hope that you enjoyed the show and the commentary. And keep in mind that the spoiler protection that is going to run for the rest of the video is made possible by all the support on patreon.com. So guys, if you want to support my work, if you want to help me start new projects and keep the spoiler protection in place, please consider heading over to patreon.com/Khaldor. There's also a link in the YouTube description, and check that out. Thanks in advance, and see you guys next time with more esports coverage here on Khaldor TV. Have a great day.